And we told you we'll be having some great discussions. But we'll also be looking out for a lot of you winning as we cash out. And it also means that you have to make sure that you are in a position to memorize a short code star 439 hash. Star 439 hash is the best when you want to make sure you cash out. And as always, we encourage you to also be part of this great bonanza, and it's a great cash out morning for all of us. As I always do, I'll tell you what we're about to have by way of the discussions this morning. And we also do encourage you to keep your dial or your channel, if you're watching us on the various platforms, through Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or Threads, you have to keep the stream live on TV3 Ghana. All right. So I have Nyodoni Atukwe Kwe, who says, Roland, today we'll pass by for brunch. You have brunch with the beautiful ladies out there. But we're discussing the decision that has now been made by Ghana as part of the ECOWAS sub-community to send troops into Niger. And the main objective is to restore the government that was deposed in a military coup back to power. It also means that restarting or again returning to constitutional rule. I already have a great many of you joining us. Manini Mani, Janet Akoli, Amuda Hamidu, you're watching us from the US, I believe. Daniel, thank you for watching us. We're grateful. Hamza Jr., Di Maestro, Dwayne, and then also Mohammed Muntaka, Yao Kwenu Techi, Prince Henry, you're watching us from Kofodia, we're grateful. Amama Gold, Mona OA, we're grateful. And then Saka, you're also watching. Obrimpong Kaba, you're there in the UAE, so we're happy that you've also joined. Aras Kutuka, Benjamin Brew, Lion Neil, Lion to Lion Neil. You're very. Anyway, let me just introduce our guests for the morning. I have representing the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, an astute entrepreneur as well, politician. He's also here, Eric Amwakuchum. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, Roland.
And then
you introduced me there,
You love it, eh? Thank you. Because we know that the word is coming right from Jubilee House, so we take your word as fact and law.
No, not as well. I represent the New Patriotic Party and by extension speak on behalf of the NPP government. It doesn't mean that everything I say is sacrosanct.
All right, I'll take care. Magnanimity is good. And then lawyer Kwame Jantua is an energy consultant, currently heads the Political Affairs Committee of the CPP as its chair. And thank you for joining us, lawyer Kwame Jantua.
Good morning. You know, and good morning to our viewers. You know, BOST has changed its name.
BOST?
Yes.
Bulk Oil
Storage
and
Transportation.
They are no more BOST?
No, they are now BEST.
So
BOST Energy, Storage and Transportation.
Oh, okay.
In terms of positioning.
Bulk Energy?
Yes, Bulk Energy.
Okay.
And they say in terms of positioning and in terms of the fact that fossil fuel doesn't seem to be acceptable going forward. And they want to create a situation where BOST now can store other types of renewable energy. So they are opening themselves up to be able to do that. So they are now BEST.
BEST.
Yes.
Bulk Energy, Storage and Transportation Company.
Yes.
That's great.
That's the new name.
That's why we have an energy consultant. You know, you don't have to do only one work. This man is well versed. We're grateful, sir, for your great impact and knowledge.
Thank you.
And then also, Abraham Maleba is a politician, but also a legal practitioner as well. He's already receiving some messages from some of the heads of states in ECOWAS, so monitoring. Good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, good morning. I'm actually looking at the ECOWAS protocol on good governance and democracy, or democracy and good governance. And I've seen a section which enjoins the heads of states not to do certain things, but they are doing it. So we ask the question, why won't the ECOWAS itself sanction its members who are breaching? Because this intervention they are talking about is that they want to restore the protocols or the statute of ECOWAS. Yeah. But we have sitting presidents who have breached some provisions of this law. So what is their punishment?
Yeah. Nia Tukwe says the ECOWAS meeting should rather sit and have leadership training and seminar and bring in religious leaders. God and us. Now, Dewa Chop Money is always here. And so Dewa 539 Chop Money enables you to collect your Chop Money every morning at 10 a.m. into your mobile wallet by simply dialing *446#. You select option 2, and then you play Dewa 539 Chop Money. You win 20 times your stake with Direct 1, 40 times your stake with Direct 2, 400 times your stake with Direct 3. You pick from the range of the numbers 1 to 39. It becomes an easy way for you. Make sure that you don't wait any longer. You dial *446#. Or if you have some inquiries, visit the website www.dewa-nla.com. And that's where we have to. So a number of you also sending messages, Shaibu Mohammed, and all of you joining us this morning. Now, let us go to Emmanuel Bombandi, who has some key message on this one and some advisory on this decision that has been taken to go into Niger.
Diplomacy does not work because you try and then the party that you are engaging with refuses to meet you, and so it ends. Diplomacy is a political engagement that is persistent and that perseveres on a day-to-day basis. And so the first attempt for ECOWAS and the AU that did not work does not necessarily mean that diplomacy does not work. So they have to go back for it. But then they have to re-strategize. They have to enlarge the engagement. So we need to bring in more actors. We need to bring in the North African countries. We need to bring in some bilateral and multilateral institutions that are key players in our region. We have to break down the understanding of interdependence and why we need one another. We have to bring the level of conflict analysis in terms of how the emerging future looks grim, and put that before the military leaders for them to be able to see the contribution they are making, not just to peace in Niger, but to peace in the entire Sahel region and the entire belt of the Sahel from West Africa into the Horn of Africa.
And Eric, we also had the defense minister prior to now encouraging the various military heads in the respective countries to be loyal to their leaders. I mean, West African leaders, they're not confident about their military?
What a question. Anyway, to start with, good morning to yourself. Good morning to my senior, Kwame, and then my other good friend, Amaliba. I mean, his smoke is very nice. You know, the blue and the white is very nice. I don't really like the green too much, but the blue and the white is very, very nice.
You don't like green?
Well, I mean, you know, for obvious reasons, but very nice smoke. Next time when you're coming...
What's the obvious reason? Political?
Oh, yeah, but you know...
Come on. Come on.
But there's green in CPP.
So next time when you're coming on Friday, please bring me one. Just,
come on.
Without
substitute the green to blue. And it will be nicer. I can talk to him.
Anyway. But do you like mine?
Yes, yours is very good. You're aligned.
Agreed.
Okay. You're aligned this morning.
Okay. On this occasion, silence is golden. So I won't talk.
But my question.
Well, I don't honestly see anything wrong with what the Honorable Defense Minister said. I mean, I think that sometimes we kind of focus on the sensationalism of certain things and the commentary that comes with it. People have a right to have their views on the kind of leadership that persists in our sub-region. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, especially when even the ECOWAS itself is trying to entrench democracy across the the sub-region. So when people make certain if like commentary about things that are going on, or even prefer views on things that the leadership of the sub-region or even Ghana as we speak, have expressed. There's nothing wrong with that. Then again, you need to dissect exactly what the defense minister said, saying that the various military heads should be loyal to their presidents or, heads of states. And that's really the logical thing to do, because even the military itself prides itself on a certain command structure. And even like if you want to even compare that to our constitution, in our constitution, for example, the president is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. That's not what it is. Right, so if anybody says that those persons within that particular hierarchy are supposed to pay allegiance and be loyal and run by the very dictates of a democracy that we've all agreed that we want to be governed by. I don't see anything wrong with that. So this whole conversation around they are not confident enough, and then people actually dovetailing this conversation into all sorts of things. Questioning the leadership of the sub-region and the fact that there are challenges and all sorts of things that actually justifies any kind of coup makes absolutely no sense to me, because at the end of the day, we all know that regardless of how all the challenges within a democratic setup, you cannot do a comparison with a system where there's chaos. You have a military dictatorship. We in this country have experienced military dictatorship before, and even across the sub-region. And we all know the kind of issues that we actually had to grapple with in terms of the retrogression and all that. So for me, for anybody to champion democracy, it's in the interest of even the sub-region itself, whereby if for one reason or the other you do not like your government, or you feel that the government is not doing what it's supposed to do and the mandate is not being carried out in the way that it should be done, the social contract that is signed with the people, you take your time, you bid your time, you run your various advocacies and all of those things if you want to join a political party or your political party. At the end of the term, you go to the polls and you make a decision, right? So sometimes when I listen to some of the persons who are making these commentaries, I shudder a little bit. I'm asking myself, is there a certain subtle, if you like, justification or clamor for insurrections and coup d'etats and all sorts of things in the sub-region?
Is that what you get?
Now, I get that sense. And for me, I think it's very dangerous, because, you see, we all know that even in Ghana, we have a certain political cycle. Regardless of how long it takes, it can take 100 years. You will definitely have a change in government at one point in time, or even across the sub-region. So when that happens, are you saying that we can be able to apply the same principles when people wake up in one morning and feel that justifiable, so they are not happy with certain things or certain happenings within the political landscape, then by all means we should go out and do a coup? No, you understand? So we can solve our issues in a more diplomatic way. For example, the same people who are trying to justify these coups are saying that, oh, don't go into Niger, and you should use diplomatic means. I mean, come on, where is it? The double standards is too much. It's too glaring. Let's understand that regardless of what you do in a political system, in a democracy which is not perfect, you would have people who would have disagreements, people who would feel that the government is not doing what it's supposed to do, right? But we shouldn't encourage those things, because, you see, when you do that and there's destabilization, for example, people are sitting in Abu-Bloshi and Makola and the Yam market and Onion market and everything, and all of a sudden there's something happening in Niger and they don't have onions, right? And now you go out there and the price of onions have escalated to a certain point, right? It's not just that. There's so many things that happens within the confines of the sub-region. The Nigerians use our ports, right? So we get revenue from them because it's a landlocked country. You get revenue from them by using our ports and the importation that goes through here and all the trans-West African trade routes that we've had for centuries, even before these artificial boundaries were set. And so anything that happens within the sub-region, whether we like it or not, has an impact on the people of West Africa, right? And so for me, it is neither here nor there as to really if a decision has been made. And the question is that, has a decision been made to go to use military force to go into Niger as we speak? No, but that is on the table. Because if you listen to even the meetings yesterday, it suggested that they're still hoping that the junta will come to the table for discussions to be made. But they didn't take the option of, going there to exact that kind of action if it so be. And so everything is on the table, right? Now, when it comes to the same democracy, then we can sit here and discuss the merits and demerits of if really we should pursue the diplomacy to its logical conclusion, or at a certain point in time if you feel that
what do you think?
Yeah, but for me, I think that the first option is to negotiate and pursue the diplomatic options. And as we speak, I know for a fact that in the last week or so, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, because they border Niger, they have had the opportunity to go into Niger and engage the military leaders. Yeah, and I think that from the commentary, it looks like some progress is being made. So I don't think it's in anybody's interest to all of a sudden just wake up willy-nilly go into Niger.
So what's your position? Are you saying that the government of Ghana should back down and not keep threatening? Because the military junta feel threatened. That's how come the formal delegation that went were not asked or were not allowed to land. And so the Emir of Sokoto or something tried to use his own powers, of course, with the backing of the Nigerian government, to go into Niger and do the discussion. That would be former Governor Sanusi, Emir Sanusi. At the end of the day, what's your position? No,
but the government of Ghana has not threatened to go into Niger.
No,
the government of Ghana
the ECOWAS
is a member of ECOWAS. Ghana is a leader in the sub-region, right? You go sit around a table, you judge out, there's a consensus that is made, right? And at a point, they're going to make a decision. Now, at that point, Ghana decides to go by the stated ECOWAS protocols and all of those things. And as part of ECOWAS, decide that if the decision is made to go into Niger. I don't think that we've gotten there yet. You understand? So for anybody to even suggest that a position has been taken by Ghana as a country, right, would be wrong at this point, because as we speak, we are talking on the background of what ECOWAS as an entity wants to do, and the fact that the ECOWAS leadership has decided that it is imperative that we restore democracy in the sub-region so that it doesn't become, one of the things that tends to happen, I think historically, if you look at these things, is that there's always this copycat syndrome, right? And I've heard people say that, the West African leaders are corrupt and this and that, and they are scared of this insurrection. But it is not in anybody's interest, in the final analysis, to even encourage that kind of conversation, because we can remove governments through democratic means. Again, my position, my orientation is very simple. Those who have also urged the West African leaders to also show exemplary leadership and also refrain from manipulating constitutions and all of those things, and making sure that by the very standards that we want our people to be living by, in terms of making the standards of living and everything, and the economic conversation that we are having, are also right. They have a right to push that particular narrative. I have no qualms with that at all. That, again, it's imperative that the leadership in the sub-region do all of these things, right? So this will serve as an example that, again, when, for one reason or the other, we wake up one morning and a certain president decides that they want to manipulate their constitution and stay in power for a third or fourth term, then we would expect the same kind of enthusiasm and then reaction that is being done. I'm very open to that.
Okay. Mr. Maliba, key among the concerns that have been raised, especially if you take Patrick Besika and then also you look at Nasser. Nasser Mohammed, for example, is saying that concerns are being raised about coalition of presidential results in Ghana. That also angers people. And he says that that's been done in conjunction with the ruling party and the Electoral Commission. I mean, even though that's his view as well. We also have Kos Kyle, who also said all the African leaders supporting the military intervention are all corrupt. They themselves in their own countries are creating instability through democratic so-called means. That's what that's the conclusion he makes. So it comes back to the issue that Eric has also raised, right? You have to make sure that charity begins at home. You cannot be painting the kettle black whilst you know yourself you're not in good order.
I agree. But the starting point of my discussion is that Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. This name, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is a scar on the conscience of the good people of Ghana.
What has he done?
For him to allow Ghana's territory to be used as a platform to agree to attack another African country.
It's not the first time Ghana. I'm not interjecting.
Wait.
It's not the first time, and I've proud to Rawlings going off in 2000. We started to the negotiations. The second round of instability in Liberia, or the third round as well. That of course ended in 2000.
I'll tell you.
And then within that period, when Charles Taylor also had to first be taken to Nigeria, and then we had to make sure that he was taken off the seats of government because there was agitation in there. The Kufuor administration also organized this, and I covered it as well. And since then, we've been having a number of these.
So let me continue. So for him to allow that to happen, it's a desecration of our territory.
Why?
In the case of Liberia, there were warring factions, and we needed to go there to bring about peace. Is there chaos in Niger as we speak? Is there chaos in Niger? In fact, Niger's bloodless coup is more democratic than some countries where 6 or 8 people had to die because of elections. Need I repeat that? Niger's
You're a Democrat. You can't be supporting
bloodless coup.
You're a Democrat. You can't be
I'm saying that Niger's bloodless coup is more democratic than countries where democracy is exercised and people are killed.
You cannot opt for a coup.
And I'm saying that what is our national interest in this matter? What is Ghana's national interest in this matter? What has a coup in Niger impacted negatively? How does it impact negatively on Ghana? Who has died in Ghana? What is our interest? So you have a president whose interest is to lead our troops to a country for them to be killed and died.
But why do you draw that conclusion?
No, but I mean,
and we're not going there. We're going with other countries. Nigeria.
It doesn't matter. When the bullets are coming, they are not saying they are coming to other countries. Are you there or not? Are your boys there or not? Are your boys there or not? Look, the ECOWAS, and today they are still meeting, still desecrating the country that was a platform to liberate other African countries. Ghana is a mecca for liberation movement. We don't use Ghana to attack our sister countries. That's the point I'm making.
You're saying there could be reprisals?
The times that we use Ghana as a meeting place was to go and make peace in some countries.
Oh, that's true.
Have you understood my point when I was making? Anytime that we use Ghana as a launch pad or a platform is to go and bring peace with our neighboring countries and our brothers and sisters. We don't use Ghana to go and kill our brothers and sisters. Look, the spokesperson or whoever spoke, is this some Fad or what? Fad said that the reason why they are going to Niger is to restore the ECOWAS statutes and protocols. And I was just reading the ECOWAS protocol on democracy and good governance, which says that, and that's Article 2, which says that 6 months to elections, you don't substantially change your electoral rules. In this country, have it to done 4 months to elections.
What do you mean by that?
Why? When the EC changed the rules and said that you couldn't use a Ghana birth certificate to go and register, was it not changing the rules? 4 months to elections. Was it not changing the rules? Was it not changing the rules?
But the EC is an independent
Oh,
body.
my brother.
You're a lawyer.
Who is not independent in Niger? When they overthrow a government, do they overthrow the Electoral Commission? Let's call a spade a spade. Is the EC operating in a vacuum, a borderless country, and you say that this protocol does not apply? Who says that you don't change the rules 6 months to elections?
You're saying that the EC's actions are also recipes for instability.
I sat here. You were not on the chair. When Mali happened, I said, these ECOWAS leaders don't learn. They'll come for a meeting. The next day they go, they come back, no one is not among.
Meaning what?
They should look inwards. They should look inwards. How come that when they hold a meeting and they go back, the next meeting, one is missing? Some of the leaders who are meeting and met in Nigeria and brought their army commanders here, some of them, haven't they changed the rules in their countries to be in power?
Some for third terms, etc.
Haven't they?
You are saying ECOWAS should have acted.
Benin, Benin, here, Ivory Coast. There's another one. Haven't they changed? And they are sitting and talking about what is happening in Niger. Has diplomacy failed? It has not failed. It is true that when ECOWAS sent Abdel Salam, they refused to meet him. But I say, did you hear what the Niger people said? The junta said that Tinubu himself in Nigeria is still battling his presidency. So they all recognize that misery. What am I saying? What I'm saying is this: everybody has a price.
Say that again.
Everybody has a price. The price that is attached to the emissary that was sent from Nigeria is a low price. Have you seen the connection?
Yeah.
Now, did you know that in the same vein, the Sokoto, the Imer, was allowed
Entry.
and had discussions with them?
Why is that?
I'm saying that everybody has a price. And Ashanti man will say that I look up to Optunfo. I will say that I look up to my chief.
And not the president.
Not the president. So if you want to get to me, you pass through my chief. ECOWAS people don't know that. So diplomacy has not broken down. It is just that they are not using the right channels. And they are not using the right people. This war, or this attack, imminent attack on Niger, it's not like walking into Niger and attacking the Janta people. It's not like the Liberian one, when you went, you were attacking those who were the insurgents to bring about peace. This one, you are going to attack the Janta,
The people.
attack the people, because just yesterday,
90% of them are in support of
90% are for support. So even if your army is shot and is lying down, the people will not give him water to drink.
Yeah.
Unlike in Nigeria, Liberia, when the people were in support of the intervention and will give them food to eat. I'm talking this for our army here, people to hear. Now, we are not only fighting against these people too, you are going to fight against Wagner, because Wagner yesterday, or 2 days ago, has pledged to defend the capital, Wagner. And you're not only doing that, the other countries which are bordering and are headed by the military dictators say that they also send troops.
So you're saying the approach is wrong?
It's wrong, and you consider the magnitude of, I don't know why they sit in Accra here at Burma camp in their air-conditioned rooms and are not seeing the picture. Why? We were sitting in Ghana here when Russia invaded Ukraine. Some of us thought by 3 weeks time it will be over. Didn't you say that with the might of Russia, by 3 weeks time it will be over? Today, where are we with Ukraine and Russia? Russia is even recording losses. So it's not as easy as they see it sitting here. Why? Yesterday they were talking about Mohamed Bazoum and saying that the junta is prosecuting Bazoum for high treason. Now, you are doing this before you want to reinstate Bazoum. Where is Bazoum now? Bazoum is in the grips of the junta. When you go to attack them and they see that their backs is to the wall, won't they just use a knife to slaughter Bazoum?
You mean they'll be angered?
I mean the junta, they have him.
Yeah.
They have him. You have not secured the safety of the man. I'm talking to them. I'm hoping they are listening. You have not negotiated for his exit. Huh? You are going to attack them. If the junta decides that their back is to the wall and then they slaughter Bazoum, where is Bazoum now? Where will he be?
Yeah, you complicate the
You complicate the whole thing. So I think that, look, they should tread cautiously. The example of the Emir.
The Emir.
It's an example, Sanusi. It's an example that negotiation has not failed. The next point is that their concern today should be, how do we get Bazoum and his wife and children to safety? Can they negotiate with the junta to hand over Bazoum to them? These are the things they should be talking about, and not going to attack the junta.
La junta, clearly, you listen to Lawyer Maliba here. There's Colonel Festus Abuaje, you have Emmanuel Bombandi, Professor Enin, all of them. Of course, he says that Niger is tired of Niger, etc. But at the end of the day, it looks like the question is over the approach.
Roland.
And it looks like the ECOWAS leaders have lost trust.
Roland,
is that the case?
Roland, is President Akufo-Addo telling us today, President Akufo-Addo and his party and his tradition, telling us today it was wrong to have overthrown Kwame Nkrumah? Is that what they're telling us today? If they are saying coups are wrong, is that what they are telling us today?
But why did President Akufo-Addo overthrow Kwame Nkrumah?
Please, I'm saying his tradition.
What? But
I'm saying his tradition.
But
we are good, coups are not good. I think at this table,
has he ever said it? Have the tradition, MPP tradition, ever said it?
That's what?
That coups are bad and that the overthrow of our presidents was a wrong thing?
I think they've said it over and over.
Really?
That's how come they say
I haven't heard.
They were very instrumental in the return to democratic
I haven't heard. Look, the hypocrisy of African leaders is creating this kind of thing that we are seeing.
How so?
How so? Tell me, which economy in Africa today stands tall? Which economy? Okay, let me not take Africa. West Africa. Which economy stands tall? West Africa.
The biggest economy in Africa.
Which one?
West Africa,
Which one?
Nigeria.
Does it stand tall?
You mean whether by the
does it
current
stand tall?
indicators?
Yes. Does it stand tall? Tell me, West African economies, which one?
Well,
and then you have a president next door who changes the constitution to stay, and you do nothing about it. And you think it is right. So what is it about Niger that you want to invade? What is about Niger? And the defense minister says, and my brother here doesn't agree. The defense minister says, there, you heard it, right. Be loyal to your president.
Telling the army chief.
Who puts the president in place?
The people.
The people. Shouldn't he say, we need to be loyal to our people and make sure the right thing is done? Let's go in diplomacy and negotiate first. Look, the budget of ECOWAS, if you look at the funds, They have about 400 million. Do you know where a lot of that money is going to? Sudan. Sudan. And they come and tell us what? That we have the men. Look, if your father, okay, you are old, but let's say it was you, who is an army man, and this standby force has been put in place, and all negotiations have failed, so you are going in. Your children and your wife, will they not be worried?
But
will they
not
not
were
be
enlisted
worried?
to serve, to defend.
Irrespective.
To defend
Are you
the-
trying to tell me that
the-
they won't be worried?
The country Ghana.
Are you trying to tell me they will not be worried?
They would be.
Today, there is no humanitarian crisis in Niger. There's none at this moment.
Yes, but there's a constitutional
Wait,
crisis.
wait. There's no humanitarian crisis. Going in there will create a humanitarian crisis.
How?
People, the destabilization of the country. People would not have, cannot live their normal lives. People would have to run for their lives because of rampant killing. And I'll tell you, we are pitting Africans against Africans. We are pitting our brothers within the sub-region against each other. They should find any kind of means for diplomacy to work. Any kind of means. If they need to use our traditional leaders, if they need to use our religious leaders, if they need to use those who they feel can be very respectful, they would listen, they should use it.
They should explore all means.
All means.
Instead of this
look. The junta should have been the last thing to even talk about. They should have even brought it. Even if they had that plan, they should have even brought it. They should have brought the diplomacy first. Move. If they feel, and if the negotiations then fail, that is when they now tell West Africans, okay, we've done everything. We think the situation in Niger threatens West Africa in terms of all these coups. So we are thinking of putting a peacekeeping force in place. Nobody wants war. And you look, the other thing you're doing here, you are opening the floodgates for others to come in. Look, the West are interested in uranium.
Yes.
Why? They need it for their electricity.
For their nuclear plant.
The nuclear and all that.
generate power.
The moment that happens, they come in, they give money to insurgents, they give money to all these terrorist groups. They now take control of that area, and then you realize that they are the ones exporting.
Do you think these West African leaders are leading their own countries into a ditch?
Yes, they are.
That the action currently is now compromising their own internal
Yes,
security,
because
instead of the action of the junta rather creating instability.
They are, aren't they? And for me, it's very ironical that you're not thinking of the economies in your country and how you better the economies. You're rather thinking of war. You're rather thinking of war. Ghana today. Are we sitting pretty?
I don't understand.
Are we sitting pretty? Is everything fine in Ghana where people feel, oh, we are comfortable? Is it?
Well, the budget was read. They said we're 10 around the
Are we sitting pretty? Are we sitting pretty? How many? What is the jobless state in Ghana today? How many people in Ghana eat 3 square meals a day? How do we spend nearly $40 million in importing food products that we can grow here? We are sitting pretty. And you're not thinking of that first. You're thinking of going to, what do you call it?
You mean 400 million?
Invade 400 million. You're thinking of going to invade, what do you call it? Niger, a vast country. And that attack, is it only the capital you're going to? Burkina and Mali. Is it Burkina and Mali who are going to give them, who are going to join them? Yes. Burkina Mali, it's not part of it. Guinea.
Yeah.
3 of them. Look, one of the major issues that West African leaders should look at is what France is doing to their French countries. That is the key. That is the key. And they are not saying anything. The leaders are not interested in that. So, Roland, tell me, what really was the cause of the coup? Why did the coup happen? What was it? Have the
disenchantment?
Is disenchantment not running through the whole of West Africa? And are they trying to show this big boy attitude that if you try, it will come for you? Is that what they're trying to do? When you haven't been able to stabilize your own economies? When our own bank of Ghana has a loss of 60.8 billion.
You're saying that creates insecurity.
Where does it make sense? Look, Ghanaians are tired of insurrection and all these types of things. That's why we are quiet. We don't want anything to destabilize us. That's why some of the things that are happening in Ghana today, we are quiet. The corruption, the broken promises, all these things, we are quiet because we believe that if for nothing at all, every 4 years, we can change. But we are getting to a point, Bosan just said it right, we are getting to a point where if leaders in our countries do not stick to the promises they give the people, these are some of the things that we will see. And that is what President Akufo-Addo, who, and I say he transcends all the republics in Ghana today, should be the one man who stands up and says, no.
I don't understand.
Huh?
He transcends how? Because of his age.
He has lived through.
He's lived through.
Okay.
My father's generation, all. If you look at the subset of our politics today and those leading it, he is one person who transcends all and understands the politics. He should be the one man who says to West African leaders, no, that isn't the way forward. The way forward is diplomacy. Let's see how best we can put diplomacy in place and approach the junta.
And if I go through the comment, for example, Ali Mustafa Combet is saying, if government has any means to restore constitutional governance in Niger, they should find any other means except this military intervention and rather concentrate on restoring peace in Boko in Ghana. And then also the question about why is it that the actions of the ECOWAS leaders seem to be angering their various citizens? Because if you monitor Nigerian channels, you go to Channels TV, NTV, and many of them.
Those,
the sentiments are also not good, even for Tinubu, etc. And we are talking about two powerhouses in West Africa.
So, to be honest with you, I feel that sometimes when we have conversations, we need to contextualize this and not, get into the fray and go into areas where it becomes controversial. To start with, my senior brother, Kwame, was making mention of the president and that our tradition should denounce the 1966 coup. Then in the same breath, he's saying that as we speak today, there are conditions that arrive in the West African sub-region that basically makes this coup d'etat justifiable.
No, I didn't say that.
No, I'm just.
That are your words.
That's your words.
He said there are conditions in the West African countries.
Then the question is
that also.
I wasn't born in 1966. I wasn't born. Right. But then the question would be, were those conditions rife at that time? You understand? So you can't be expedient with these conversations. If coups are bad, they are bad.
Generally.
But I'm not
that's what I'm saying.
No, don't misinterpret me. No, don't misinterpret me. That's not
coups are good.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, but I'm just saying.
I'm saying that we should have double standards. Do the right thing to stop these things happening.
I appreciate, but
the leaders should.
Yes, they shouldn't.
Try to draw into this conversation because then it becomes a certain ideological conversation, right? In the same breath, if you sit on a platform like this and you hear people like Amaliba speak and all that, these are guys who are still celebrating 31st December and June 4th in this country. They still do it. Their tradition celebrates these things. You understand? So when we are having conversation around reasons why people would do coup d'etats and everything, and they're coming out with all this subtle whatever, you have to be very worried. You have to be scared about how they narrate and interpret some of these things, right? But that's fine. All I'm saying is that, yes, people have a right, the West African people have a right any day to be dissatisfied with their leadership, right? I was watching BBC News when I was coming in this morning, early morning. And England, that is supposed to be the fifth or sixth largest economy in the world, has 300,000 homeless people. You're trying to find something for them. Every country in the world, the people are dissatisfied with their government.
Out of 70 million people.
No, I'm just saying.
Out of 70 million people.
I'm just saying that.
Are you saying this as part of the equalization?
I'm not equalizing at all. I am saying that every citizen has a right to critique, to disagree, to have expectations of better governance or leadership from their government. And being a West African leader does not absolve you from that. But that does not justify, right? That does not justify putting the whole democratic experiment that we are trying to do, right, into some kind of difficulty and truncating that because people are dissatisfied. The only reason
why... I should tell you that in England, the homeless are fed and given weekly stipends.
By who? By who?
Oh,
no, but the point is that do you listen.
Are they entitled to welfare?
Listen,
you have lived in England.
I don't want to go. Do you give your people
I don't want to go into whatever. I just made an example that regardless of where you find yourself, the people will criticize their government. People would have issues with how the system is being run or even on public policy positions. That does not mean that there has to be a justification for undemocratically, right, removing those governments. There are processes for which you would be able to remove governments. And of course, if things have happened in the past where in a sub-region people have done things in a particular manner, it doesn't mean that it should... There was an era within the sub-region where every country, probably in the sub-region, had a military head. Right, we've moved away from that, right? And we've all known and come to appreciate the fact that all of these things had actually also contributed to a certain retrogression, right? And so as imperfect as a democratic system is, right, as we speak today, that is essentially the only way we can govern ourselves. If people ask for better leadership, better public policy position, and less corruption and all of those things, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I would, back that any day. But my point is that we have to emphasize the fact that if you usurp the power of a democratic government, it becomes retrogressive. That's all.
Roland, let me ask a question. Just a question.
So the question then is, whilst Mr. Amakochum argues this way, where you have a situation where the citizens across West Africa seem to be disgruntled with their constitutional leadership, where in countries where military heads have taken over the constitutional leaders, they seem to have the support, the large support of the citizenship. What sort of mediation do you undertake? Do you go there and say, I'm going to restore constitutional order? Or you go and negotiate with those who have overthrown the constitution to say, please return to a democratic order in a space of time?
You see, I'm even shocked at ECOWAS. What they should have been looking for is beyond this coup. How do we restore democracy back to Niger? And not to be given deadlines. If you don't talk to us 1 week, we will do this. If you don't do this, we will do this. Are there small boys sitting there?
You think it angers the people, the leaders there?
But look at what they are talking, sitting in a Burma camp, they're talking. Well, if you don't do this, we'll do this. If you don't do this, do you know how strategic it is to do a coup? Somebody has done his coup, he has succeeded. If you say, if you don't do this, we'll do this. We don't do this. They are waiting for you to come. Look, we are living in a country that cannot provide textbooks.
There are textbooks, not enough.
There are no textbooks for JSS. There are four or 5 textbooks for primary schools. Is that what you want? Is that what you call they have done it? So if you cannot provide full complement of your textbooks, you rather want to send troops and pay them and feed them to go and fight somewhere? Is that it? In any case, when the current president then in opposition, felt that things were not going right. Didn't he say Arab Spring? Didn't he say Arab Spring? And you will come and sit beyond me from Jantua and say that NDC like coup.
Well, he's
The
only,
man who
he's
is-
he's only recalling a historical.
I am also recalling.
Yeah.
He's
They have a right to
recalling a
recall.
Haven't I
historical
also
fact.
recalled? I'm also recalling that there was once an opposition leader who, when he wasn't getting his way through, said that Arab Spring can't.
But the late Professor Mills also said.
Look at you. So are we going to go on that tangent?
but
So I'm
you
going
brought
to
it
tell
up.
you
You
that
brought it up.
I'm going to tell the bottom line is what Roland has asked. How do we make our people satisfied? If you come to power, how do you make the people satisfied? How would you cut down on your luxury, not hiring private jets, and ensure that people can get pad, that thing, pad, the woman, the this thing, sanitary pads?
You mean
Today,
these things can contribute to a coup?
why? You don't know?
Let's be fair, please.
Let's be fair about what? That people cannot get sanitary pads and they will not be angry with the government.
Or you're talking about the summation of the disgruntled people. Okay.
Look, when people take up arms or they go onto the street, everybody has this problem. Oh. Your head is aching you. Your leg is aching you. You don't have one monolithic reason why people pour onto the street. Oh. So stop saying that. I'm saying this because I received a call from my village. A young lady who said I should give him money to buy pad. This has never happened. And so, in fact, that issue, they say that Ghana is the leading country with when it comes to they say period poverty. They call it period poverty. Google and see period poverty. That's what they call it. And Ghana is the highest when it comes to this.
How do you tax that?
How do you even tax those
How do you
things?
tax it?
Those things, how do you tax it? I can't even mention them. So if people are disgruntled, it coalesces into, people become dissatisfied. And your question was relevant, and I don't know why you are moving away from it.
I asked you a question.
You said that.
And then you digress.
I didn't
to sanitary
digress.
pads.
Why? Sanitary pad is one of the reasons. One of the reasons is textbook school fees. Should I give you one of the reasons? One of the reasons is the president flying on
No,
jets.
we all have reasons why
Good.
the economy. Yeah.
Good.
The,
So stop being
the forex losses. And all that.
for a businessman will be talking about
the
that.
haircuts.
Exactly, a haircut. Former Chief Justice on the street. So please, I am saying that governments in the West African sub-region should focus on providing the welfare needs of their people. If they do that, nobody will be looking to remove them. This call by Nituwol that army chiefs should be loyal to their president. I think he's living in Cuckoo's land.
Cloud Cuckoo land.
He's living in Cuckoo's land because when people are agitating, the CDS can do nothing. And I'm telling them, when people are agitating, the CDS, they can't do anything. So please, let's ensure that when we are voted into power, our major interest is to uplift our people from the doldrums. Anything besides that, you see these agitations happening, and that's what is happening, and the wind is blowing. You see, tomorrow they'll go for a meeting, then the next day one will not come. The next time another one will not come. So now what they are doing is that let's show bravado. Let's scare the people away. Let's scare the military people. But in some cases too, the people can rise up against the government, not military men, but the people themselves. That's what the Arab Spring taught us.
So how do we conclude? What's your final caution or advisory to the leaders in ECOWAS as they conclude this meeting with the
Let
army
me
chiefs
ask
today?
the question. What happens to our leaders when they decide to stand for constitutional power and give all the fanciful promises that they're going to do to uplift the people, and even when they win, their first statement that they give gives hope. What changes? That creates the kind of mistrust in governments. And let me quote Obasanjo. He says, what we have now in Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso, and now in Niger Republic, we should interrogate and ask ourselves, what are the causes? For me, if I'm going to advise them, as much as possible, the junta are human beings like yourselves. Let's try every means of diplomacy and negotiation. Every means whatsoever. Because it has an implication on us here. If it so happens that they go in and they don't go in with peace, but they go in on attack, the kind of weapons in West Africa, do you know? We'll be sitting here and they'll fly a bomb. It hits Flagstaff House. Boom! What will the Ghanaian people say? And it will say we should what? Be, what do you call it to our president? You should be committed to the people. Because if that doesn't happen, and we sit for this thing to go on,
all right.
Look, West Africa will be destabilized.
All right. Okay.
The right thing should be done.
Now we know that Niger is bordered,
it's landlocked.
Yeah, it's a very landlocked country, so we all know that they are bordered by Libya to the northeast. You see, one country, Libya to the northeast, Chad to the east, Nigeria to the south, Benin. All right, so it means that they are just on top of Nigeria. So they after northern Nigeria, now Benin and a little bit of Burkina Faso as well to the southwest, Mali to the west, and Algeria to the northwest. It's a very huge country. It's not child's play, all right? And predominantly...
And the poorest, one of the poorest in Africa. Why?
The largest
now,
in terms of land size.
what the military... If you look at the military consultants, etc., they keep saying is that the terrain is even a bit uneven. Well, it's not a terrain we're used to. So, of course, the troops who go to Sudan, etc., will be used to the desert areas. 80% of the land lies in the Sahara Desert, or in the Sahara. It depends on how you want it. So, for example, should you or not be worried if you have? Now, let's quickly spend some 2 minutes and look at an issue. Oh, we don't have the time.
No.
Okay. The Bank of Ghana and...
There are more questions for the Bank of Ghana to answer, and they are not talking. 3 weeks now, there have been allegations. Why are they not talking? Is it true that they did sole sourcing when the Act, Procurement Act, says that you do sole sourcing in some specialized circumstances? Is it true that a company that is supposed to manage, has been given management services, did not have its registration process done before it was awarded? So the Bank of Ghana should know that it is a bank that is supposed to exude confidence in the financial sector. And if its own activities are shrouded in secrecy, it is important that those in the bank are made to wake up. Yeah,
the building. We're told that it's from 81, and ideally, apparently it was not, if you look at the quantities and then the summation, it shouldn't have cost.
Honestly, well, I mean, as for the details are immaterial for me now, but I honestly side with Amaliba on this subject, that I have absolutely no understanding of why the Bank of Ghana itself does not decide to respond to these matters. You know, and the reason is very simple. The Bank of Ghana, like he said, is meant to be exuding that confidence, and the work that it does actually should be able to speak to some of these matters. I mean, so if they are communications directorate for one reason or the other, and I mean, in these matters, the governor himself should be able to be speaking. There's nothing wrong with, I mean, coming out and bringing clarity to the matter. For example, people are speaking from a certain position of, let's say, ignorance. You know, so if people say that, oh, they are building for $250 million, the first impression that you get is that it's a brick and mortar conversation. But we all know the things that goes into even like just a normal commercial bank, right? Let alone, a central bank of a country like Ghana, right? So they should be able to bring clarity to the matter, give us an indication of exactly what it's entailing, what it goes into an edifice like that, talking about earthquake prone and all of those things, bankers, all sorts of things, right? I'm not an expert in these matters, but I feel that, their communication has been a bit lax. And sometimes because we cloud these things in politics, when there's a conversation about a particular institution, it becomes an MPP NDC conversation. It's not an MPP NDC conversation. I've had reasons to think that even the bank itself needs reforms. Remember this whole conversation around giving liquidity support to banks, even under the NDC era, where we're giving 300, 400, 500 million CDs to banks for liquidity support, and the supervision was non-existent. And some of it culminated in the challenges that we are facing today as a country. So the bank itself, as an entity, as a going concern in terms of, that the lawyers will tell you, should be up and doing, and they need some kind of reforms to be able to be answerable and do it in earnest. You understand? These conversations have been ongoing for 3-4 weeks, and all that you get is
snippets of
information releases. It makes absolutely, in this day and age, I think that it should be a bit more up and doing.
Can you imagine a press conference where the governor is sitting there
and answers everything?
And can you imagine?
He cannot answer all those things.
Exactly. Exactly.
He cannot.
That is why
that's a
he's
PR
quiet.
gap. Nobody will do that.
Yes. That is the reason why he is quiet. The funding of government, the fact that you don't go according to the laws. Bank of Ghana itself, the 60.8 billion, do you think he would be able to explain it? He won't be able to. So rather be quiet than talk.
All right. I have this one from Nana Ose. He says, Roland, good morning. What is this hypocrisy all about? That even in Niger, no one has died out of this so-called coup. But in Ghana, when elections were held, 8 people died, and still there's no real and reasonable solution to that. This old bourgeoisie who are leading these ECOWAS countries want to protect themselves and fear losing their alleged loot over their rulerships. I love this message. And then I have this one from Blueprints in the Western region. Blueprints, right, from Isikado Kitang, says, I strongly support the ECOWAS Chief of Defense Staff plan on Niger's intervention. We need constitutional rule and not through the barrel of the gun. Greetings to Honorable Charles Bissell. Now, Musa Abatwa says, ECOWAS should use diplomacy to solve the issue. Sheikh Sanusi of Kano, that's the emir, went to Niger to talk to military leaders and the junta, and it's yielding results. So ECOWAS should probably liaise with him to lead the mediation process. Some will say process. A good friend of mine. Ghana should stay and solve the Boku situation first. Niger is more democratic than Ghana currently. That's from Isa. Now, they should be loyal to the head of state and not the constitution. And you say I should ask him. That's money, need money. Now, I have many others as well. I don't seem to be in a position to read all the messages. So, okay, Sheikh Abubakar Ali Napari. Now, I have this one from, we'll do cash out very soon. So I have this one from also Henry in Tema, says, tell the ECOWAS leaders that if they want the disturbances in Niger to come to an end, they should send His Excellency, you said John Dramani Mahama. All right. But ECOWAS is also, now Moses says, France and the other European powers are the problem of Niger and West Africa, and we should call the spade a spade. Mystic Wonder inside in Sawama Jodri, a coup d'etat must be condemned, but this is happening in Africa for reasons like corruption, dictatorship through democratic means, unprecedented economic hardships, and same is also happening in other West African countries. Seydou Salaga, tell Eric that he's one person I respect so much within his party for his humility, but I beg of him not to descend into this defense of what does not need to be defended. Okay. And then also I have this one from Amuda Hamidu, who's watching out from the US. So ECOWAS should tackle the root cause of these coups. They should also find ways to release Mohamed Bazoum and negotiate for an election as soon as possible, and not the current tangent. Lawyer Sampi Yale says, why didn't the ECOWAS leaders first assemble their various peace councils first? They are showing their open mouths without teeth. Hey.
Some countries don't have peace council.
Triddle says, ECOWAS army ready to overturn a bloodless coup d'etat in Niger with possible loss of lives. Triddles. I have to say good morning to Akosia Menu. Akosia Menu is vying for the parliamentary candidacy of the MPP for the Adenton constituency. Good morning to you. You're watching us with your dad currently. We're grateful. Master Planner Junior Kintampo Roland, please read my message to Lawyer Amaliba. He's a fine communicator and he understands the issues, but he talks with anger. It makes his submission so hard.
Talks with passion.
Okay, somebody said it's with passion. Now, Jerry Amejro in North Tongue said, what happens to the military guys if they go there and lose their lives? What will become of their dependents under this mess of economy we're experiencing? Well, they sign up to go and defend the country. I think
and they're taking them into a war.
Aziz Donla, ECOWAS' decision is totally wrong. However, the decision by the youth wing of the NDC is in the right and perfect direction. Taxing capital is unacceptable and ridiculous. Government must review the betting policy. We're talking about this. And Sam Morgana, Matters Day Ground. This one from Asari, who is a banker, says, if an ordinary citizen complains about government issues and decides to protest, and the government of the day uses the military and security services to arrest and even sometimes kill the people who are protesting, how do I turn around to support the government when the military takes over? It's a question. Azari, good morning to you. Now let's do cash out. Let's do cash out. And cash out, we always encourage you. *439# is the short code. Make sure you keep staking and let us know what you think. And I have to say good morning to Carl Nee. You're in Charlotte, North Carolina. Good morning to you. And then also Kujo Daniels. Now let's cash out. 3, 2, 1, cash out. All right, so we have the first winner. The owner of this number, 0543, oh no, 0531532. We'll be calling that number. Let's do the next one. So we're doing the next one. So the next one is the bearer of this number, 00244-834, and just going. All right.
Why don't you want to bring the full number?
Because privacy. Yeah, privacy. All right. So we'll be calling one of the winners. But thank you, Abraham Maleba. They say you talk with anger.
Passion.
Passion. Okay.
I'm
so
passionate
synonym
about the country.
for him is he talks with passion.
The things that are going on.
The viewer says you're talking with anger. And then Lawyer Jantua, thank you very much as well.
Thank you too.
And then friend of Bank of Ghana, Eric Amwakucho, good morning.
Yeah, propagandist.
We're taking a break. We'll be right back. But again, we're encouraging you. We're cooking with the Ghana most beautiful lady. So we have a GMB Jollof Challenge today. It's our forecourt here at Media General. So I'll go there very soon. Beautiful and intelligent contestants in the 2023 GMB are there. They have leaders of the 4 teams. We're talking about Anita, we have Crystal, we have Jacinta, and of course, we have the regulars as well, all there, making sure that we're able to do all the good things when it comes to being able to cook. So we'll go and learn some few things there. We're taking a break. We'll be right back.